morning and welcome to
Hello.
Let's Talk Movies with
Moira
and Shannon. We're really excited to be here with you this morning, you guys. We're going to talk about the Emmys.
Yes.
And recap the whole Emmys. We talked about doing a show beforehand and doing predictions.
Right.
And then I think both of us felt like,
yeah.
A little bit.
And I didn't think I would be able to get through all the content in order to fairly predict, because there's so much. Yeah, there's so much.
And so many awards. They couldn't do it all in one night.
Right.
So we're going to recap that, and I know some of you are probably scratching your heads and going, and what exactly does that have to do with autism? And we will reveal how much of that actually and a lot actually does have to do with that. I want to say we're live right now. Today is September 18th, 2024. We're live. Our fabulous Chris Desmond will show you on the screen many of the different places that we're live. We know that some of you will be listening in podcast.
Right.
In fact, the lion's share of our audience will be listening in podcast, and so we'll try to describe anything that we're gesticulating. And we don't have a lot of pictures today. So that's okay. But there's so many different ways to watch all the content that we have on Autism Network. We have a very robust YouTube channel that's under the title of Autism-Live, where you can see 14 years worth of content.
Oh my
free.
gosh.
I know. It's like, what did John Lennon say? Life is what happens when you're doing other things.
Yeah.
We were doing other things. We were making videos during that time. Now you know what happened to life. So go and check out all the different things. I love doing this, and I love doing this with you.
This is like the highlight of my month. We haven't really gotten back to a monthly cadence.
I know.
Because people go on vacation, right?
Yeah, it's been rough.
I love it.
We both had to go to Scotland.
We both had to go to Scotland.
I mean, as you do, you just got to go to Scotland. So, and lots of intervening things, but this is such a joy and a treat. And I love the time with you. I love talking about the TV and the movie things that we talk about. I also love talking about how it relates to autism, because we always get there.
Yes, we do.
Excuse me, always one way or the other. So anyway, watch, share, like, we appreciate, and you can interact live. We're live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I'm getting, of course, a tickle in my throat because that's what we need to do. But I always give you a minute at the start of the show to talk about TACA.
Yes.
And what's happening. And you've got a big thing coming up.
We've got a big conference happening in next month, October in Costa Mesa. And it is the weekend of the 19th. And we are excited because our keynote speakers are three of the cast members from Love on the Spectrum. So we're very excited to have them there talking about their experiences. And we will have a lot of information on different therapies and treatments, and that you can pursue for your kiddo, different like legal, what your legal rights are under an IEP. We always have somebody there speaking about special needs trusts and conservatorship. So there's a lot there that you can learn from. It's a great experience. You get to connect. We're doing a nice Friday night thing where we're helping that. We've gotten feedback where parents wanted more time to connect with other parents. So we're trying to make that happen, and it'll be fun, and I'll be there.
Absolutely amazing. It's the best event.
Yeah,
really.
It's super fun.
And we always say that if you need your batteries recharged, you really should attend this.
Yes.
And as many days as you can. It's 3 days.
It's a 3-day thing where our schedule is a little different because of we're starting, I think, mid-morning on Friday, and then we're going a little bit longer on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Because we just had to shift a little bit. Yeah. We are also vendored with the regional center, so if there is, if you have a conference, you haven't attended a conference yet, but we also have scholarships. So please don't be shy. The scholarship would be for registration only. We wouldn't be able to, unfortunately, provide accommodation or travel, but that, hopefully that can make a difference for you if you want to attend, but money's tight. We know money's always tight.
Yes. Now there is another option though too, because
you could purchase the recordings. Yeah, you could purchase the recordings only.
Yes.
And I believe we also have scholarship for that, but I may be speaking out of turn. But you can email and ask, and that way you can watch the recordings for. I don't remember the cutoff date, but we do have a couple months at least.
Substantial amount of time.
Enough time for you to watch every single one if you wanted to.
And I know that sometimes, you're sitting at home and you're like, well, I'd love to know about all these things. But I know for me, I remember getting so mad. Somebody reached out to me because I got on some list and there was going to be this doctor who was going to be speaking at this restaurant. Oh, and it was going to be amazing. And, but you had to go to the restaurant. You had to pay a registration fee. They were going to provide lunch. But it was a pretty hefty registration fee for the day. And then they suggested that you buy the doctor's book also to be at this thing. And I'm the type of person who will call somebody up and go, here's what you're doing wrong. It's so wrong of me. It's so wrong of me. And sometimes I can't stop myself, but I have opinions and I think that people should want to hear them. Because by the way, if you guys have opinions about what we're doing here, I actually want to hear them. So I assume everybody else is the same way. It's just wrong. I have to stop myself. Now I just because I remember when my mother would do that, just offer the unsolicited opinion. But I called this place up and I said, I'm a mom who would really benefit from coming to this thing. I cannot afford the thing at the restaurant. And she's like, well, what we're serving lunch. And I said, yeah, I'm gluten-free. And I don't think it was a vegan at the time then, but I'm gluten-free. Is it gluten-free? And she's like, well, no, you'd have to bring your own. I said, okay, there isn't lunch then. And where's my child while I'm there? Do you have childcare? And she was like, no. It was just so overwhelming. And I thought that no one cared. And she's like, well, you should buy the book. And I thought, thank you. Thank you for all your well-meaning and help and support and whatever. I just want to say that what you guys do at Taka is you make it possible that even if you're somebody who's in that circumstance where you're at home and you're like, I'd like to have the information, but I cannot leave my child. Right. I don't have the ability to leave my child to do that. You guys,
we try to make it available.
You make it so that you can be watching the videos and you don't have to watch them on the day that they're happening.
No.
You get them and you have a substantial amount of time in which to pour over them, watch what you want to watch. And it's a very reasonable low cost to be able to do that. So I have nothing but praise.
Thank you. That one of our things is we want the education and information to get out there. And we don't want there to be a barrier. And we're lucky in that we do have folks that are sponsors or supporting the scholarships for these things so that we can still do this. Because everything, it costs money to put on a conference. That's the reality.
It certainly does.
Yes. And the price of food and everything has all gone up. So, but I think it's a good quality experience, as you say. It's great,
and the fellowship that you will find there. Please, if you go, there's so much information, and I think there are people every 5 feet that you can ask a question, and you guys are all well marked. You're in your Taka shirts.
We all wear the same color shirt, so you'll see us.
It's an army of people, and please don't be shy about approaching somebody and saying, here, I've got my whole,
here's my schedule. What should I see? We're happy to help you. Which one should I do?
Yeah. Somebody is happy to say to you, this, and this. This one is going to be amazing for you. And it will be tailored to you, not some random person that you haven't met.
Yeah.
Remarkable. You guys do good work.
Thank you. We're coming up on our 25 years too.
That's amazing.
Yeah, incredible.
So check it out. You guys should go to tacanow.org, click on the conference. Also tootle around the website because I think you guys have the best rockin' website there is.
There's a lot of great information being updated all the time. So
we're saying hi to Rosie. Rosie, I hope you're checking out the Taka conference because it's an amazing thing. Okay. Anything else we want to talk about?
No, I don't think. I think that's the biggest thing on the horizon. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I just have to say again, it's just I cherish this time that I get to spend with you. You're such a centered, the person in the storm that's sentient and paying attention. And I don't know if you guys know, I've told the story, but I haven't told it a long time ago that how I met you to begin with was that you were doing things with your husband.
Yeah.
Talking about couples.
Yeah, we did a marriage talk and we felt very unqualified about it because only thing we did right was pick each other, but I think, because I felt
that is the big thing.
Yeah,
right?
That's a big deal. But we didn't have any letters after our names, but we basically just talked about here's all the mistakes we made along the way and try to avoid them, and just sharing our personal experience of that. And I hope it was helpful. It was one of those things.
It was helpful to people. And so we had you on the show back then, and then I connected with you on so many other things, and you were the liaison to the doctor.
Yeah, for the doctor that you were using. Yes.
And so you just have always been.
I've been around. I've been around.
But and then you were at Taka, and I discovered that you were at Taka after all that. But you just have always been somebody that I run to. You're a safe space.
Aww.
And in this environment, woo, don't you cherish the people that you've known for a while that are safe space?
Yes, you feel like you can relax around them.
Yeah. And then we started noticing each other on Facebook. I mean, we had been friends on Facebook forever, but we started noticing that we were having conflicting
opinions about movies.
Yeah. And so that's why we're here. That's why we're here, and because we love it. Rosie, I'm so glad that you're here with us. Okay, do you want to dive in and go like one at a time, or you want to talk about?
Well, I guess we can talk about the overall show.
Yeah, we're talking about the Emmys.
Yeah, the Emmys, the 2024 Emmys, and it was actually the second night of the Emmys, because they awarded quite a few of the awards a previous night, and I, for the life of me, could not find a really coherent list to find that. But the highlight of that night is Love on the Spectrum winning for casting director and for direction. Of a I guess they call it a reality show.
Yes.
And that was very exciting. And so now they will always have an Emmy award winning Love on the Spectrum, so that was a delightful show. If you haven't seen it, I think it's well worth watching.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that the three people that you have from the show that are doing the keynote,
panel,
they actually presented an award at those.
I wanted to see that, but I
wanted to see it too. I haven't seen it, but I saw it on Danny's.
Yes, Danny Bowman, David. No, Abby's unable to come, but David is coming.
Oh, wonderful!
And then I've forgotten Steve, the gentleman from San Francisco, and I've forgotten their last name. Sorry about that.
Amazing.
But they're just lovely, and I'm excited to meet them in person.
I mean, what an amazing thing. But I think it was Danny, Abby, and David that got to come out.
They got to present.
Because I know Danny. Danny's been posting about it for a while, and she posted dresses and let us all.
I saw her dresses that she posted.
Let us all vote, and we all picked one dress, and that's the dress she wore. And she, Danny's a Barbie. You could put her in.
I know, she looks
anything.
adorable.
She reminds me of Lily Collins from Emily in Paris.
Yes,
she just
everything looks good on her. And just lovely smile.
Amazing. But I have to say too, I think also pivotal on that night was that Jamie Lee Curtis got her Emmy.
Jamie Lee Curtis got her Emmy, well deserved. Yeah. And that was, I kind of wish I'd been able to see it. I just didn't. It seemed a little hidden in the.
Yeah, they've been doing it that way for years. I think that more and more people want to see some of those awards.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe. But
they didn't do like a highlight of that night, because sometimes with the Oscars for the technical awards they do a little highlight of it. And so I thought, because it was, I read a review and they talked about how this award ceremony was a little blah, and I'm like, okay, it was whatever, but I don't know it. I think it wasn't a razzle dazzle, but it was fine. It always run too long,
right?
I have to say,
I love the Levys. I love Dan and Eugene.
Yes.
And I will sit and watch them, read the phone book, eat falafel, make hummus.
Yeah.
So I thoroughly enjoyed seeing them. I thought they were cute and funny. The big thing that I saw afterwards is that people are like, will you please just let Martin Short and Steve Martin host it next year?
Yeah.
That would be fun too. But I loved the father-son element, and they're just so funny and dry. And what I wished, if I had been writing this Emmys, I would have had them re-accept their Emmys from when they won in the tent. Because when Schitt's Creek won all of those Emmys,
the pandemic,
and they were in a tent by themselves, and I just really wanted them to recreate that moment and accept them right there, and have everybody who won in the tent come out with their Emmys and be acknowledged, right? Because they kind of got gypped.
Yeah.
But the Emmys have been weird and wonky now
Mm-hmm.
because first we had the pandemic. Well, even before that, there, you know, when you think about how many years has it been sort of messed up that, you know, they had to push back.
Mm-hmm.
Even in 9/11, they had to push back. It's been a lot of years. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
literally over a decade of weirdness. And then we just had them.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was like, didn't we just have the Emmys? And
because
I said,
they delayed them until
the strike.
because of the strike, and it's
so, and people are confused about which season are they. And I think some people won awards at the last Emmys for this season because people weren't realizing it was for the season before. It's been a little wonky and not their fault that it's been wonky.
Right. There's a lot of circumstances that have made it a little complicated.
But
Mm-hmm.
It's a fascinating. But I thought Dan and Eugene did okay.
Mm-hmm. It was fun. It was inoffensive. You know, it was fine.
Yeah.
And they're Canadian, so they're very polite.
Right. So there we go.
Canadians.
But it would be nice to see some of that and give people an opportunity, or just televise the other night.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you televising? Or why aren't those clips available? Like, I want to see Jamie Lee Curtis accepting the award. I've seen her when she's backstage talking to the press.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I can't see when they won the award for Love on the Spectrum. Guys, we're a social media world. Why are these clips not available?
Yeah, those clips should all be, should all be available. They've a missed marketing opportunity.
And again, me giving my unsolicited opinion.
Hello,
Emmys. If I had their phone number, I would call them and say, you're missing the boat here. But thank you for making sure that Jamie Lee Curtis because somebody was going to, like, you would have heard me scream if she didn't get that. That's the one I cared the most about. She got it. She was thrilled. I'm happy.
It is great.
Okay.
So I mean, Shogun was a big winner of the night.
Yes.
And if you haven't seen Shogun, it's an amazing retelling of James Clavell's novel, and it was done in, a lot of it was in Japanese, and it was beautiful. And it was, for somebody like my husband who loved the book, he was a little frustrated by some of the way that the lead character, Anjin-san, Blackthorn, was portrayed, because he Blackthorn actually did in the book kind of figure out a little bit how to navigate the culture, but you don't really see that happening in this version, which, I mean, it's a choice.
Right.
And because there was a point where he did something that would have been so embarrassing, and it's something, like a clumsy manners thing that he should have already known. And that was frustrating. But I thought that the visuals, the acting, everything about it, you had to pay attention because you're reading subtitles, because it's in Japanese. And I loved seeing what he would say to her in English, and when she translated it, the lead character Blackthorn has a translator, Mariko, who's assigned to him, and they're talking to the Shogun, who and Mariko, Anna Sawai, Sawa, and then Hiro. Oh God, I'm so apologetic here. Hiroyuki Sandana. They won Emmys as well for their portrayals. And it's wonderful. And the political aspect of it, and, because there's the Portuguese are doing a lot of trade, and then the English are coming in to try to get their trade. And, so it's got like the sort of Game of Thrones level intrigue, and visually amazing. And it's a completely different culture that we get to see and kind of steep ourselves in through Blackthorn's eyes, in a way. But really good. I know you had a lot.
I watched one episode of it and could not hang. Now, that was me at that moment. And I know you've said to me, maybe I should take another look at it. But, I've been really busy this year, and to commit to, I love to watch subtitles. It's not that I don't do subtitles. I do that on a regular basis, but to commit to that level of subtitles for a storyline that, I struggle with some things. It's like, what do I want to put into my head? And when things are graphic and people are being abused and things, I struggle.
Yeah.
So all in all, I was just in a place where I was like, I don't have the time for this right now.
Right.
I might, maybe, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when I'm going to have downtime ever again to go back and watch that. But to be honest, but if I did, maybe.
Yeah. It's pretty spectacular in terms of visual and acting and everything. So, and we actually watched a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, and Hiroyuki, here it is again, Hiroyuki Sandana was very involved in the production. I don't remember what his title was, but it was a labor of love, you could tell. So that I was glad to see it acknowledged, because it was pretty spectacular.
Amazing. And culturally, what a boon, because there was a theme throughout the night where things were talked about that aren't usually talked about.
Yes.
And we had John Leguizamo, who came out on stage and talked about, I didn't realize that he had put a full page ad in the New York Times about, let's see some more diversity at the Emmys. And when you're nominating, take a look at that. When you're giving awards, take a look at that. And I really love John Leguizamo. And I appreciated what he was saying about how critical it is that we are telling the stories that are of the world. And if you're only telling stories about a very limited group of people, if that's all you're greenlighting, then we're missing out on some of the richer stories. And I appreciated that he talked about not only, ethnicities, he talked about cultures, and he said the word disability. So I appreciated that. I very much, because a lot of times when we talk about DEI, people assume things like when you're in a community where there are people who just have disabilities, that's the first assumption that they make. And I know other people are like, hey, you're not the only game in town.
Right.
But it's very much the opposite is true too. When people are talking about cultures and ethnicities, they forget, there's a whole other area that's disabilities.
Right.
And then I want to add the word neurodiversities in that too. But we always want more. We always want to push that envelope.
Yeah.
But I thought, it's always, remember when what's the Korean movie that won the Oscar a couple of years ago?
Oh, Parasite. Love that film.
And everybody went, okay, a foreign film can win the Emmy. And, it changes the fabric. And so much, I mean, at the end of the night of the Emmys, the two big winners across the board were Shogun and Reindeer Games. And both shows that I did not watch. Let's be honest. Because Reindeer Games is, content.
Baby Reindeer.
Reindeer Games. See, Baby Reindeer. It's content that everyone who knows me said, you can't watch this.
Yes.
You can't watch this.
Which I totally understand that, because it is, and I said that it's pretty raw. Baby Reindeer, and it won for limited or anthology series, and I loved Richard Gadd's speech. I don't remember which time he said the speech, because he won a couple of Emmys, and he basically said, I don't know anything about life. I'm paraphrasing. I don't know anything about life, but I do know that no matter what you've been through and how bad it is, that it gets better.
Yeah.
And it's like everything he went through, because it is an autobiographical story about him experiencing sexual assault and about being stalked and, and all this thing. And there's a lot of controversy because it's based on his story. And I think they said based on a true, or not, they didn't say based, it said a true story. And now, of course, the woman who herself came forward and said, I am the woman that is being portrayed, is now suing. And I don't know. I mean, that's all. And
I want to say this story, he debuted it at the Edinburgh
Edinburgh Festival, the Fringe Festival.
Exactly.
Shout out to Scotland. There you go. Shout out.
But I loved the second speech that he did when they won Best
best writing. Was it writing? Oh God. This is my problem with so many categories.
I know there were so many categories in there.
It's hard to know.
Maybe writing, but they also won best. Didn't they win best?
The best limited anthology series.
That's the one when he won for writing and he won for actors. So
yes, he won for actor. Yeah, he won.
But when he got up the last time when they won for best anthology, he said, "I hope that those of you who are greenlighting projects are paying attention."
Oh yes,
because you all sit in your offices and say that we can only greenlight a story if it has an IP that's already been tried and true. And he was like, because nobody knew about this before the festival. Where it was purchased, he said, you all say it's got to have name recognition stars attached to it. His thing didn't. Yeah. Right. And he's like, you keep saying that it has to be this kind of thing. And he said, I hope you're paying attention to what is winning here and what has been successful, because it's all about telling a good story.
Telling a good story and taking
risks. I loved that. I loved that because that is what it's about. And if we tie that to what John Leguizamo was saying, which is the stories need to be about everybody. And otherwise, what are you doing? And that clearly is what people are paying to see. That's clearly what people are tuning into. That's what's winning awards. So I love that message. Yeah. So that's part of what it had to do with autism, you guys.
Yeah.
And you loved Baby Reindeer.
I did love Baby Reindeer. It was one of those shows I binged it all in a weekend. I mean, I think I binged it all in a weekend. And the first couple episodes, I'm like, what? I don't understand him. And I didn't understand he had these opportunities to sort of extricate himself from this situation, and he didn't take them. And I was kind of like, I don't know. And then they introduced this other character who was a trans woman that was nominated as well. Nava, I forgot her last name, but she's lovely and she was amazing. And I was like, oh, how is this going to be? Everything about that show, I kept going, how are they going to handle it? How are they going to, whatever they were addressing? And then it all came together, and it was very raw and it was very personal, clearly, because this is his story, and wonderfully done, just wonderfully done. So yes, I very much liked it. But we skipped over comedy series. Hacks won for comedy series.
I think that was a surprise, don't you?
It was, because and this brings up the discussion of The Bear. Oh, yeah, I like The Bear. I don't think it's comedy. And
I love this. I love season 2. I didn't love season 1, and season 3 isn't really a season. I don't know what's going on. It's like a half a season.
Yeah, it felt kind of truncated, but
I love season 2, and I think that the one of the episodes that got nominated the most was the fishes episode.
Yes,
and I think that's the best hour of television I've ever seen.
Yes,
that's the one with Jamie Lee Curtis that she won the Emmy for.
Yes,
and it did win for best writing.
It won for directing, actually.
Oh, thank you.
Directing comedy series. It won for that.
And it should have. I thought it should have won for writing too. Yeah. But then I think what did win for writing, I hadn't seen. Yeah. So, but again, back to your point, is this a comedy?
Yeah.
And someone needs to be taken out behind the barn and beaten.
Well, I think it has comedic elements, because some of the cousins, the Fack cousins, sure, they're funny. But it's very, I don't know. And it was there were a lot of sort of almost like you were inside his head in this last season. And it was a little, I don't know. The best episode, actually, Fishes was from season 2. Yeah, the best episode from season 3 was when the lovely lady won, and I'm not going to find her name.
But that's not what this awards was for. This was for season 2. This is what the confusion is.
Oh, okay, because Liza Colon-Zayas won, and she won, I thought, for the episode that Ao
in season 3.
Yeah, that's season 3.
See,
this is it.
This is why there's confusion. And the voters were confused too. Now, I love that she's a brilliant actress.
Yes.
And she's brilliant on the show, and she does something in season 3 that's absolutely the best thing in season 3.
Right.
But and she was good in season 2 as well. Let's not,
Well, she was a difficult character from the beginning.
Yes.
Who I was like, oh, I don't know if I like her. And I loved watching her grow and change. So she
and her performance in season 3 is particularly
great.
stellar.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't take this award away from her, but when you look at who she was nominated with, she's in the wrong category. Mm-hmm. She's nominated with Carol Burnett for Palm Royale, Hannah Einbinder for Hacks, Janelle James for Abbott Elementary, Shirley Ralph for Abbott Elementary, and Meryl Streep for Only Murders in the Building. Those are all
comedies.
Broad comedies having to compete with an actress who was given steak, right? It's just not, it's not fair. It's not right. I protest. I'm laying down in front of the plane.
Yeah, I agree. And I was actually, that was one of the reasons, much as I loved The Bear, the writing in The Bear, I was glad that Hacks won, because I thought Hacks pulled off something amazing. We've talked about this before. I wanted Hacks to end after season 2 because I felt like it was like the end of season 2. I'm like, this is perfection. We can be done and I'll be happy. And then they said, it's been renewed for season 3. And I'm like, no. And I watched it and I went, holy moly, they knocked it out of the park again.
They reinvented it.
They did. And I can't wait for season 4.
I know.
So I thought if that is not an endorsement of the writing, I don't know what is, because it's a hard thing to bring people back around again, know, because sometimes you get impatient, So I was very happy about that. Much as I think all the people that won from The Bear are fabulous. It's just, it's just this political, because apparently they can decide which category they put the property in, and they decided, and in fact, the one gal whose name I always butcher, Ao. I'm sorry, I'm really bad with names. Somebody with such an unusual name like me, I should be better at this. But Ao Adibri, she was in lead actress category, whereas I think when she won previously, she was in supporting. So so there's these weird little, and I think her being in lead actress kind of made room in the supporting category for Liza. But I mean, and it's stupid. It's stupid. It's that political, because it's like apples and oranges. You're not, it's a frustrating thing, because it doesn't mean, I don't know. It doesn't mean like one performance was better. I mean, I guess it does. I guess people, I don't know what, that's why I always struggle with these awards is like, are we saying this person is actually a better actor? No, I don't think we are. No. I think we're saying that this moved us in a way that I don't know.
Well, it's difficult, because if you aren't given the writing, then you're not even going to get nominated.
This is true.
Right? You have to have something,
story.
You have to have something written, and then the actor or actress has to elevate what is written.
Right.
And the director has to give them the space and the freedom and the direction so that it fits with everything that's doing. So it's a little bit of a weird thing when the actor is given the award just for the acting, because they're not going to get there without those other two elements, right? Very rare that you would give a stellar performance without good writing and without good direction.
Right.
Maybe the exception would be Bowen Yang, because he's doing a lot of improv and stuff, and I really wanted to see Bowen Yang win.
I do love Bowen Yang, and I'm glad he was singled out. I mean, that's a big
yes, it was, but I was mad that he didn't win. But he couldn't win because he was in a category with an actor who was doing something with The Bear that I don't think there was a funny element of the episode that he won for. And he's a brilliant actor, and that episode was brilliant. But how is an actor who's doing comedy going to compete with that? It's a different level of story. Excuse me. So on that level, I'm like, it's not, you shouldn't be able to pick which category that you're in.
I think there should be some sort of governing body that says, no, this is actually actually people have quibbled about this in the Oscars as well. When Judi Dench won for Shakespeare in Love, she had like 6 lines. And she won Best Supporting Actor role. And part of it, she's an institution and blah, 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 and all that. But it's one of those, and then dicey. Actually the was it The Killing Fields? Hang Nor really was the lead, but Sam Waterston was listed as the lead. but they put him in, say, Nora in the supporting because they wanted to give him a shot at winning. So, so it's all these weird jockeying for position and machinations. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and then our girl, Jean Smart, she won for Hacks, and that was, she's fabulous.
And I want to say, because I'm always trying to bring it back to autism, that I love that Jean Smart and Jamie Lee Curtis are both amazing actresses that deserve these awards, but they also happen to be people who show up all the time for autism things to support autism.
Yeah.
And so let's say that.
Yes. Love it.
In really huge ways have been supporters of our community. So, and not that, that affects their performance or their award, but I do love to see people who get us rewarded for the work that they do.
Yes, just adds a little.
I'm not suggesting that it's karma. I'm just saying you should know.
We're just saying we like you more because.
That's right. Well, I feel like they're family.
Yes.
They support us. We're supporting them.
Yes, you're rooting for them too. Yeah, then they're rooting for us. So that's a.
And so I want to say to other celebrities, please come and be at our party and we'll root for you too.
That's right.
The next one that I want to talk about, I would love it if I don't know, and it may be that she's already done things with autism, but I would love it if she would come and do more things with autism, and that's Jodie Foster.
Oh, Jodie Foster, unbelievable. Yeah. If she won for True Detective Night Country. Yeah. If it was, I don't know if you've watched any.
I did watch the whole thing.
Yeah, she was so good, as was her co-star, who was also nominated but did not win, and of course I can't find her name. It's oh gosh,
Aja. No, that's
Kira. I think it's, oh my gosh. This is
Coley Reese.
Yes, Coley Reese.
Kaylee Reese.
Kaylee Reese.
Can't read.
She was fabulous as well.
Oh yeah, she's good.
And I liked what Jodie Foster had to say, because again, she talked about stories, and she said, "Thank you for letting us tell your story."
Yes,
because and I'm going to butcher it. There's another name I'm going to butcher. The DeFaro, the young man from Reservation Dogs. He came to the Emmys with the red handprint over his mouth, and that is about missing and murdered Indigenous women, and how
I did not know that. Thank you. Yes, nobody was explaining that.
Yeah, the red handprint over the mouth is basically we're being silenced to death, and the story of True Detective Night Country it takes place in Alaska, and it is about exactly that as well. And I think it's an important story because it's one of those, being somebody who is a true crime person, when you start to hear these stories of just the lack of concern for this number of people that have gone missing or have been found murdered, the lack of urgency to solve these crimes, it just makes you want to punch somebody. I mean, it's so frustrating. So I'm happy to see that young man doing that, and he had been nominated. He has a great name, and I will find it at some point. Oh, DeFaro Wunatai, and so he was up against Jeremy Allen White, and actually, Reservation Dogs is a comedy.
Because I didn't watch that.
Yeah, I only watched the first season of it, and I need to get back to it because I did quite enjoy it, but. Sometimes when there's a long lag between seasons, you sort of lose your momentum and you think, I don't know that I remember what happened. At least this lady does. I get
I think that's all of us. And we see that with series when they take a long time, unless the writing comes back and bangs it. And we get a little bit of a recap that's baked into it. Because I don't think any of us want to sit there and watch the recap, the stale recap that they have for, but series lose speed. That's why they always talk about how the sophomore season is the tough one, right?
Yes. You gotta get people back
you lose
in.
Speed.
Yeah. So Jodie Foster. That I marked the people whose speeches I loved, and I thought Jean Smart was hilarious, and of course Jodie Foster, and then I mentioned Richard Gadd, and then Hiroku Sandana when he spoke in Japanese as well, and had his partner translating it for him. I just loved all that. I thought that was really terrific. And then for supporting actor, we had Billy Crudup for The Morning Show.
I watched that, and I did not think that was the right award.
Yeah, I thought he was very good in that show.
Yes, I did too. I just did not think it was the best performance.
Yeah. I kind of love Slow Horses. The guy from Slow Horses that was nominated as well. Yeah,
I also would have picked John Hamm over Billy Crudup in
Fargo
show. No, in the morning show.
Oh, in the morning show. Was he nominated for the morning show?
He was nominated for the morning show. And I really loved his sort of, Elon Musk adjacent guy.
Yes.
I thought the writing was a little bit more nuanced for that character. So that was interesting to me. When Billy won, I was like, huh.
Well, and then Mark Duplass also for the morning show.
I didn't feel like he was given enough in that season. I love him. He's another huge supporter of the autism community, by the way. Oh my gosh, totally.
Good.
He and his brother, they produced the film Asperger's or Us.
Oh.
They followed them around in a van and videotaped those 4 young men who are all on the spectrum who do improv. I got invited to go to, they were here in town to do improv, and I got invited to go and cover it. And I called Alex Plank and said, will you go to this with me?
Yeah.
And he was like, what is it? I don't know what it is. And I said, it's, comedy. And Mark was there, so we got to hang with Mark for a hot minute. But it was hilarious because none of those young men wanted to talk to me. I was like, I have a show, Autism Live, and they were like, yeah, we don't really talk to parents. We're not into that. And we're just not into that. And not rude.
Yeah,
just that's not what we're into.
Just not our thing.
But they thought it was like Elvis was in the building that Alex Plank was there. So it's just, and everybody wanted to talk to Alex, and we always talk about that. But Mark was there, and he was lovely.
Yeah.
And they paid for that film. They produced it. They made sure. Executive producers and producers.
Yes. They've done quite a few things. I've seen their names on quite a few.
Big supporters of the autism community.
Fabulous.
The Duplass brothers. So
fabulous. I don't know. I think you could make an argument for that for sure. But I felt like Billy Crudup, I don't know, some of he had this sort of, had to be the guy that was going to pump everybody up. And I don't know. I
didn't think there was there was the one episode where they were at his mother's that I think that's what he got nominated for. But I just didn't think there was enough meat on the bone for him to win writing wise. Okay. And especially when you look at that whole season and he's the one who won from the season. No. No.
Well, and then he was up against two folks from Shogun, who I don't know which characters they played, but there were so many good characters.
And Jonathan Pryce from The Crown. It was kind of stunning that Billy won. But, okay.
Hey,
you placed your ads right.
And then, of course,
Rodney, saying hi to Rodney. Sorry.
That's okay. The next category, supporting actor in comedy, and that was Evan Moss Bacharach for The Bear. I'm a huge Paul Rudd fan, so I kind of want to see him supported and awarded.
And this is the one that I really wanted to see Bowen Yang win.
And that's the category.
I really wanted to see that happen.
Yeah.
I think his body of work is just
and
amazing.
I think part of it, aside from the category selections, there's just so much good stuff. That's the other. We've got this sort of embarrassment of riches of these wonderful shows and wonderful actors that it's like, how do you pick and choose?
But, people voted.
Yeah.
And, I wasn't one of them.
Me either.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. And the next one was the supporting actor in a limited anthology series or movie. And that was Lamorne Morris. And I'm probably butchering his name. I'm sorry, sir. And Fargo. And I have actually not watched any of Fargo. Have you?
No, but I know when I was getting stuff ready today, and I had Sarah print this for me, and we were talking about this was a favorite of hers. She was so excited that he won.
Oh, good.
So she was like, "No, that's a."
Well, he's one of those faces you just know him. You're like, "Oh yeah, I've seen him in a bunch of other stuff." I knew
his name. It came trippingly off of her tongue.
We need her here to translate for me.
He won, and that she said that she didn't watch it, but she said that was really the only thing she cared about.
So and he won.
So
good.
Somebody cared.
And then the next category we had Elizabeth Debicki for The Crown, and she was the one that played Princess Diana in The Crown, and she was very, very good. But I love the Gilded Age. I love Christine Baranski. Again, we got another person from the morning show.
I
this
love
category.
Greta Lee on the morning show.
Greta Lee was amazing. We got four people.
Oh my
goodness.
I thought that was an Emmy-winning performance.
Yeah. Nicole Berry, Greta Lee, Karen Pittman, and Holland Taylor were all nominated in the same category, and they were all for the morning show.
And they were all good. But again, it goes back to how much meat was given to you. And I thought that Greta Lee was that was a well-written and, I thought that was an Emmy-winning performance.
Yeah. No,
I thought it was great that the other women were nominated, but that was, for me, that was the winner. Right. But I get it. She played Lady Di, and she did a really good job. Mm-hmm. Sometimes for me, it's like, are we doing an impersonation? I don't know.
Well, and I've floated in and out of watching The Crown because a lot of people, oh my God, you got to watch The Crown. And I started it back when the first season came out, and it was a very young Queen Elizabeth with Claire Foy. And I just,
you didn't do it for you? Oh, the first 2 seasons with Claire Foy. I just think she's the master acting class. There's this scene when they're on the boat and they do a long shot where she says something to him and he responds to her, and they just go slowly in on her face, and it's the master class in acting. Yeah, you just see like the disappointment and the grief, and then the I will continue. No, she doesn't say anything. It's just on her face, and she's like, I'm the queen, and I'll have to suck it up, and I guess I'll just have to deal with this. Yeah. It just brought me to my knees. I loved her so much.
I may have left the season before that happened, but because I think but I jumped back in because of the era of Thatcher and Lady Di and all of that, and Olivia Colman was playing the Queen at that point, and I jumped into that to watch that.
I didn't love that. I thought the casting should have been flipped on that. I would have loved. I thought because who's the actress that in Vanessa Kirby is it that played the sister in the original? And I just love her. I love everything that she does.
She's
and I thought she was so. It's Lady Anne, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Or is it
Princess Margaret. I get them confused too.
But
sorry.
Me too. But then we go to the second season, and Olivia Colman is playing the Queen, and the sister is being played by Helena Bonham Carter. And I wish they had been reversed.
Oh, interesting.
I wish it had been Helena Bonham Carter playing the Queen, because I thought she was much more like Claire Foy, tinier, whatever. And I would have loved to have seen Olivia Colman just tear into Princess Margaret.
I just love Olivia Colman in anything. She's in The Bear. Everybody's in The Bear.
Yeah.
She's in The Bear as well.
Everybody's
in The Bear. And the next one we talked about already, that category that for comedy, supporting actress in a comedy, the Emmy went to Liza Colon-Zayas, who is wonderful, but also amazing people. I mean, holy moly, that's a heck of a category to be in. Yeah. And then also with the controversy or whatever, it's not a huge controversy, but for us, it's huge of it not being a comedy, really. I don't think.
No, I think it's huge for a lot of people. I don't think it's just us.
And the next category was the supporting actress in a limited anthology series, and Jessica Gunning won for Baby Reindeer. And I have to admit, I have not seen Ripley, and I've not seen Under the Bridge. Dakota Fanning was nominated for Ripley, Lily Gladstone for Under the Bridge, Aya Naomi King for Lessons in Chemistry, which actually I did watch and I did enjoy.
But I don't remember who she was on that.
She was the neighbor across the street. Do you remember the?
She was good.
She was good.
I wouldn't have given her.
I mean, that show. I enjoyed the show.
I loved the show.
I was happy to watch it, but it kind of didn't always stick with me.
Two different shows.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
It was like there was a show, and then it took a left turn.
Yeah. And did you know the guy that plays her husband, I don't remember his first name, but his last name is Pullman. He is Bill Pullman's son. Oh. And he was like, I was like, God, I'm getting such nice vibes from, So there you go. Let's see. Diane Lane was Feud, Capote versus the Swan.
And you loved Capote versus the Swan.
I enjoyed it. It was catty. I like a catty show sometimes.
And I didn't make it past the first 12 minutes, I think. I was like, no.
I can understand. It was not everybody's cup of tea. Nava Mao was nominated in the same category for Baby Reindeer. And then, of course, Kali Reese for True Detective Night Country. All really amazing women, nicely diverse as well. Nice diverse category. And but Jessica Gunning she got the best role. I mean, in terms of, she got like talk about meat on the bone. Exactly. She got like a really meaty role, and she was fantastic in it. And then, of course, talk series, The Daily Show won. And then because Jon Stewart is back, so I think it's gotten a lot more heat now. And then scripted variety last week tonight with John Oliver, directing for a drama series. This one, let's see.
Can I just say, don't skip over the reality?
Oh, I did. Sorry.
No, it's okay, because I think a lot of people do, but we were very excited. Do you watch The Traitor?
I don't, but I love Alan Cumming.
Oh, you know how earlier we were saying, because a colleague of ours was saying that they hadn't watched Veep, and we were like, oh, I'm so jealous.
You get to watch it for the first time.
You can go back and watch all the iterations of Traitor. It's so good. Okay. It's so good. And Alan Cumming is just amazing. And we were so thrilled that it won, because it will mean that there will be other seasons.
Yes. Yeah.
And a lot of it takes place in Scotland, I think.
That's what, I saw the I guess it's a Netflix series.
Yeah, and then they do different countries. There's a US version, and I think there's 2 seasons of the US version. There's a UK version, there's an Australian version.
Oh, okay.
They're all good.
Quite the yes,
and he's not the host of all of them, but he is hilarious. I would watch it just to see what he comes out wearing.
Yes, he's got fabulous dress sense.
The man is amazing.
We do love that. We do love that. Yes, and then I skipped down to directing for a drama series, which was for Shogun, Frederick Iote.
Nobody was surprised at that.
Nobody was surprised. Yeah. And then directing for a comedy series, that was Christopher Storer
for the episode of The Fishes, which is the best hour of television. So that made sense to me. I loved that.
Yeah. I don't know that I will rewatch The Bear, though. Would you rewatch The Bear?
No.
Yeah.
But I would rewatch that episode.
Okay.
My son is in a class where he was given a certain number of shows and episodes he had to watch of different things, and he has to watch 2 episodes of The Bear. And I was like, well, we're watching Fishes, and I'll happily sit and watch that with you, because I just think it's amazing.
One thing I wanted to say about The Bear.
Yeah.
The gentleman that plays the father of the character Sydney, who's Ayo Edebiri.
Oh, yes.
That is Robert Townsend. I may be getting his name wrong. He did Hollywood Shuffle. Do you remember that show?
Well, he had
that
the
movie?
whole deaf, he was a comedian.
Yes, he was a comedian.
Yeah.
And there's if you can find it, I haven't been able to find it out there, but I want to show my daughter Hollywood Shuffle. And
movie?
Yeah, it was right around the same time that Spike Lee did Do the Right Thing.
Okay.
It was but it had, I don't know, it was just kind of a lighthearted poking at Hollywood.
Okay.
And I hope it holds up. I'll give that caveat, because sometimes you recommend an old movie and you're like, ugh, I know. But I think it will. But I love that he was in this, as all of a sudden I realized, oh my God, there he is. He's back. Good for him.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where were we? Fishes. Yes. The Steve Zalian one for Ripley. I have not seen it.
That was for directing for a limited or anthology series or movie.
Right.
The titles of these.
The titles,
are
I know.
crazy.
It's like directing for this, that, and the other.
I really wanted Issa Lopez to win for Night Country. I'm just saying.
Yeah. That's one I saw.
Both my husband and I turned to each other, and he was like, "Did you watch Ripley?" And I was like, "No." So we might have to go back and watch some.
Yeah, it's got Andrew Scott in it, and I love him.
Yeah.
So I will watch something just because he's in it. So I might revisit it. And then we had directing a variety series, Liz Patrick for Saturday Night Live.
Love that.
So
was
I was
huge.
glad to see a lady director get acknowledged.
I'm glad to see Saturday Night Live. They've been doing a lot of great work lately.
They have. And then writing for a drama series, Will Smith for Slow Horses.
I think that was a shocker for a lot of people.
Yes.
But having watched a couple of episodes of it, I went, yes.
Yeah, Slow Horses is really great. I recommend it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
and they call Gary Oldman's character in that the anti-James Bond. He's so and I saw him being interviewed, and he talked about wanting a series that shot in the UK, that he didn't have to wear prosthetics or get fit in shape for, and didn't have to use a different accent. And so his agent was like, "Here you go."
Talk about manifesting.
Yeah, manifested that himself into that. So yeah, that's well worth watching.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I've just started it. I'm on episode 3 of season 1.
It's so good. It's tense. It can get tense at times.
Yeah.
All right. So writing for a comedy series, this was the writers from Hacks. Well deserved. Lucia Aniello. Yes. Paul Downs and Jen Statsky, which is wonderful. I was very happy about that. The things that actually, I have not seen a lot of the things that are in here, but I've heard really good things about What We Do in the Shadows. I've seen Abbott Elementary, and I love that. I think it's a good show. The other 2 I've heard good things about.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good.
Sick and Wrong and hilarious.
Oh, good. I like
saw
that.
And I saw all of it.
Girls 5 Eva.
I watched it. It's another one that's sick and wrong and hilarious.
We'll have to watch it. And again, in the comedy series, we got The Bear.
Right.
So,
which I would have thought would have won.
Yeah, but I'm glad Hacks won.
Did.
Yeah.
I'm glad Hacks won.
And then writing for an anthology. This is another one of Richard Gadd's Emmys, that's writing for a limited or an anthology series or movie. That's just, this category is such a mishmash.
I mean, it really is.
Wow.
And again, I don't know, because I didn't see Baby Reindeer, but I was always voting for Issa Lopez.
Yeah.
For True Detective, because because
it was pretty amazing.
It was amazing, and I guess I'm that kind of person that I'm always pulling for the underdog, and to have a woman and as a director writer, it's like you just want to go. Please notice that that's a good thing.
Yeah,
because we don't have enough of that. I don't want to in any way diss what the men were doing.
Right,
but and I know it's hard for everybody to get work, but we know it's extra hard for women, and we know it's extra hard for women of any kind of color to get a foot in the door. It just is. And if you're not sure, go watch Gina Davis's documentary.
Oh my gosh.
If you're not sure about that, go watch that, and then you'll go,
it's
holy
called,
business.
The documentary is called This Changes Everything. Yeah. And it is brilliant. Yeah. And I think I've seen it twice now.
Me too.
Because it's just so good.
The first time you're like, what?
Yeah. Because Gina Davis, of course, was in Thelma and Louise, and she said that was one of the phrases that was used to her. Well, this changes everything. They're going to definitely do movies that feature women and women's stories more, and they did not.
No,
and she actually they said, oh no, we fixed that. We fixed it. Yeah, and then she went and did research.
Yep. She took a portion of her money, created an institute that does research on that, on gender in movies, so that she has studies to show people. And my face fell on the floor. Did your face fall on the floor?
Yes. I was shocked because you think, you say, oh, it's so much better, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, we've come a long way. We've got a long way to go. And I think that the intersectionality of like people of color, disability, other things like that, and gender, all of that stuff. There's room at the table for everyone.
There absolutely is.
And I want to see these stories because that's the thing that's great. I mean, when you think about it, there's a portion of the population, a large portion of our global population that has had to imagine themselves in whoever the protagonist was for whatever thing all these years with movies. And they've been able to do it. So can others, I mean, it's just, you can project yourself into that. I mean, as a woman, I had to look at all the male heroes and think, well, what if I was that guy, but being me, what does that mean? And I could root for that hero. I could want to be that hero. And now when I see a woman, actually reprening that hero, I'm like, oh my God, isn't that amazing to see that?
And as you said, it's everything. I just happened to, in the last 2 weeks, watch 2, and I wasn't like I was trying to do a festival for Peter Dinklage, but I watched 2 movies that starred Peter Dinklage. and that were amazing that I had not heard anything about.
Is the one with Shirley MacLaine one of them?
Yes.
I want to see that.
I
don't remember the name of it. But
I think it's called American Dreamer. Mm-hmm. And I watched something the other day, and then, on Amazon, they just start playing something afterwards. They don't say, would you like to watch this? They just start playing it, and you have to turn it off. And I was like, I'm in. Like the first scene, I was like, I'm totally in, because I had just watched, there's a movie called She Came to Me.
That's the one with the tugboat, Marissa Tomei.
Yes, Marissa Tomei.
That's on my list. Yeah.
And like, it's a very unconventional film, and I just totally loved it. It's still living in my chest.
Oh.
Like 2 weeks later. And I'm just, it's not that I wasn't ever a Peter Dinklage fan, but now I'm a huge Peter Dinklage fan, and you notice that he's producing and executive producing on these films, and you just go, smart actor, where he's finding his own stuff and he's putting his own money into it. And I just want people to be talking more about doing that and watching his films, because the man is brilliant.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant, and he's picking the right stuff, and it's good stuff. You guys should go watch those movies.
Oh, they're
odd, strange, not following a trajectory that
Love
the typical, in scene 2 we're going to see this, but I was just like surprised and enthralled, and in both cases I was like, I'm not watching this, and then I went, yes I am. I couldn't leave, and was just, So, but imagine, like, there was a time when the only time we would see a little person in a movie was The Wizard of Oz.
Right. It would be a punchline.
And he's playing the lead in these movies, in these characters that are completely relatable. I started watching American Dreamer, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I need to know what happens to him. I already care about this character.
Right. Well, and while he was in it, so I'm like, what is this? And I watched the trailer, and I'm like, that's on my list. Yeah. Add to my list. Yeah,
it's worth it.
Yeah,
it's worth it.
Looks good.
And Shirley MacLaine, oh, God bless her.
I love Shirley
I love her too.
Yeah.
And, she is not, I love when an actress is not trying to hide the age that they are and capitalizing on the age they are and using it and not being afraid to. I thought it was a really good performance. And she doesn't do that much anymore. No. But she did this because it was a good role. Yes. And she went there.
Yeah. Oh, good for her.
Yeah,
good for her. Yeah. Something fun to talk about next month.
Yes. Okay, we're past time. But hopefully you guys enjoyed as we dissected the Emmys. It's over. And now, new seasons are starting with new things. But it's weird. It's slow. It's like things are coming out but not coming out. It's weird.
Right. Well, and as I was saying earlier, back in the day when I was a young kid, it was the fall lineup was kind of when you saw everything, and the summer was when everything went on hiatus and you could rewatch reruns of the things you missed. And that's not the case now. We're just bombarded with all this content, and they're coming out at different times. And sometimes it's like, we're only going to give you half of the season, and then we'll give you the other half over here. Like with House of Dragon, they broke it into 2 sections.
I know, basically. Everybody's doing that now.
Yeah, I think it's just to maybe build up more interest, like give people a chance to catch up. I don't know. I don't know. So,
but it was explained to me why we used to have that fall season. I always thought it was, well, that's when we go back to school and it's when summer is out. And somebody said, no, that wasn't why we had the fall debut. That was when the new cars came out, and the biggest sponsors were the car companies.
Oh.
And now they're not the biggest sponsors. And so there are other sponsors. And so that
it doesn't matter what
doesn't
time
matter anymore.
Wow.
And it took like decades for television to go, we don't really have to be held to this anymore. And then repeated strikes when you had to put things, they were like, oh, look, they will watch something new in summer. Yeah. And we could do a mid-season replacement for something that doesn't work. And now we're just in a slog. It's just like, when is the show coming? Oh, it's debuting on Friday.
And they're dropping all the episodes or,
Very interesting.
Very different way to do things.
Well, let us know if there's something that you particularly want us to watch. We will look forward to that. And hopefully we will see you guys, for those of you who can, at the TACA conference. Make sure you go to taca.now.
It's tacanow.org.
There we go. Sorry. senior brain. And then we'll try to jump in here at some point next month. We are talking about moving this to audio only and not doing the picture. So let us know if that would disrupt your life in any way. All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
All right, you guys. We're back on Monday with new programming. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.